The question being answered is whether the means will differ for registered voter turnout during general elections in Wyoming and California from 2000 to 2014. This question was of interest to the researcher because of the upcoming elections this year. The states California and Wyoming were chosen because California is currently the most populated state in the United States, and Wyoming is currently the least populated state in the United States. The hypothesis is that Wyoming will have a greater mean registered voter turnout than California during the general elections from 2000 to 2014. This data was quantitative and discrete. The original data was collected by the Secretary of State websites for each respective state. The data used was from the general election section of each state statistics from 2000 to 2014. The population is the registered voters in both California and Wyoming. The sampling method is voluntary because the registered voters chose whether or not to participate in that election. The hypothesis test that the researcher used was testing a claim on a two populations means, where mu1 equals Wyoming and mu2 equals California. The claim was that mu1 is greater than mu2, h sub naught was mu1 equals mu2, and h sub 1 was mu1 is greater than mu2. For the assumptions check, it was not random. The populations were normal after computing a Shapiro-Wilk normality test, and it was independent. The researcher used 0.05 for alpha. T was 3.1907. The p-value is 0.0035. The test was right-tailed, and since the p-value was less than alpha, the researcher rejected h sub naught, which supported the claim that the mean voter turnout in Wyoming is greater than the mean voter turnout in California during the general elections from 2000 to 2014. The researcher used a 90% confidence interval because the test was originally right-tailed, so they needed to double it in order for the confidence interval to be accurate. The mean voter turnout of registered voters in Wyoming is greater than the mean voter turnout of registered voters in California from 2000 to 2014 by 11 to 38.42%, and the MVD was 11%. The graphs that the researcher chose to use were a bar graph and a scatter plot. The researcher decided that these two graphs best represented the outcome for this question. For summary statistics, the mean for California was 0.634137.5, and the mean for Wyoming was 0.88125. The conclusion for this question was that the mean registered voter turnout in Wyoming was greater than the mean registered voter turnout in California from 2000 to 2014. Shortcomings of this question were if the researcher exceeded the number of years used for the data, the result probably would have been more accurate.